Begin by sewing about 6 inches below the beginning of your binding. Don't forget to set your needle in the needle down position. Continue sewing and stop so that you have enough room at the bottom to align the ruler on the corner of the quilt and mark a dot right here. Then you'll proceed with the folding technique to make the turn. As you reach the end of the binding on the corner, backstitch before you reach that dot, cut your thread, and then you can fold it with your preferred method of folding to make the turn on the binding. My binding is 2.5 inches, so I'm going to use the 2.5 inch side of the ruler, lining it up and trimming off the top. I just draw a line right here, and then I trim that excess off. Then you're going to lay the top piece of your binding over the bottom piece, line up your ruler again so that it's in line with the top of the bottom section, mark at the bottom of the ruler, and then trim. Now, bunch that section of quilt together using quilt clips. Hold it all nice and tight, and this will allow you to take your binding strips and match them up. Laying the right sides together, just like you do when you're making the binding, take 2 pins and pin along the 2 sides on the diagonal, and then use your ruler to draw a line marking your diagonal from one end to the other. This is where you're going to stitch your binding together. Now all we have to do is sew along that line that we drew on the diagonal to finish the binding. Trim the excess, leaving yourself a 1/4 inch seam on your binding. Then remove the clips, and your binding will lay nice and flat and be the perfect length to finish your quilt. What I really like about this binding tool is it takes all the guesswork out of attaching your binding in this manner. You don't have to have 12 inches on either end, which I think waste a lot of binding. And look at how nice it turns out.